Hello, everyone. This is Thomas Pepin, NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin, and let's talk about the NHL. I just want to double check. I forgot one thing to make sure that everything's working here. Just bear with me a moment. Okay, cool. So as you'll notice, I'm in a different location. So like I said, visiting family, house sitting for a month or so. And so I'm currently in the exercise room. So I got a whole bunch of, whatever you call them, elastic bands, punching bag right beside me over there, sauna right across from me. Background of my family is French Canadian, so we've got the Quebec flag. Anyways, so different scenery. This was the least in the way location. So I mean, there's some other spots that are nicer looking. So next stream, while I'm still here, so not next Friday, but the Friday after that, I'll be in a better location visually at least. But this one is just because they're packing for their trip and want to be out of the way. So anyways, so this is where I'm going to stream for today. And yeah, so as always for the Friday streams, it's going to be a recap of either the past week or the past 2 weeks, sometimes in the rare case, the past 3 weeks in the NHL. For today, it's the past 2 weeks. For one, because it fits my schedule with all this traveling and whatever. And then also just the amount of news. So it's actually good timing because we do have a chunk of news to go through. As it usually takes, it should be about an hour to go through everything. But we do have plenty to go through. Now I should say, so the power cut out on me when I was prepping for the stream, partially why I'm late. And then also why the description of the stream is not complete. So I'm going to finish that after the stream and just fingers crossed that the power doesn't go out during the stream. So if something happens, that's what's happened. So anywho, let's get to it. All right, so we'll share screen. So from piece of news is Laine is stepping away for a period of time to receive care from the Player Assistance Program. So as I've mentioned previously, I don't talk about the particular issues people are facing, whether that be personal, legal, whatever it is. Just giving information on people being away in the case that they're one of your team's players or your sports betting and it's relevant and stuff like that. So anyways, so Laine is going to be out for an undetermined amount of time. And that's all we'll have to say about that. And so it kind of makes sense because his performance hasn't been the best. Also, there's been rumors about him getting traded. Of course, I don't really put much faith in rumors, but the fact that there are rumors typically is some sort of indication that something's going on. So, and I think the GM said that everybody is available. So anyways, just unfortunate that he's having to step away, whatever's going on. But anyways, that's the news for that. Next up, so again, I talk about other injuries later on. But in terms of anything that's season ending or extremely long term, I might touch on it in the news portion of the stream, or headlines, I guess, portion of the stream. So here's an example. Chytil, I think is how it's pronounced. He's out for the rest of the season with an upper body injury. Doesn't specify what it was. I don't think so. In any case, so he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Next up, the GM Allvin in Vancouver was extended to a multi-year contract. I did go back to try to find how long that contract was for, but I couldn't find anything. So don't know, and in any case, it's not all that critically relevant. Now, the team hasn't done that good for a while. I think they're having an off good season. So I don't know if I like the idea of extending the GM, because I don't think he's done a good job. I think he's been there long enough to have made an impact and hasn't. And on that note, let's go have a look, actually. Oh, he hasn't been there that long, 2 years. And then I don't think it says how long he's extended for. So maybe I'm too quick to judge because he hasn't been there long enough. But anyways, so that's that for that piece of news. Then there's the trade for Lindholm. I don't think there's any other trades to talk about. Oh yeah, there was the Monahan one. Did I not? I think I might not have saved that. Give me one sec. Where is it? Okay, so I'm going to leave that. Actually, we'll close that. So we'll just go to trades. So there's the Monahan trade and the Lindholm, Kuzmenko trades. So I might as well just go over to those since they're both pretty big and then talk about those at the same time. So first up, there's the Calgary-Vancouver trade. So Kuzmenko, Yermo, I don't think he's of any great significance. 3rd round pick. Yeah, not doing much in Liga is Finnish, I believe. So nothing of great significance there in that player based on his performance. Burstowich, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Good performance in the OHL. Where was he drafted? 3rd round. So he seems like a decent pickup. Then there's a 1st and a conditional 4th. 4th becomes a 3rd if they make it to the conference final. And then there's other terms there that you can read yourself. And then Elias Lindholm goes over to Vancouver. Lindholm, man, that I didn't know he did that well in that season. So 42 goals, 40 assists, 82 points in 82 games is very, very good. But the rest of his seasons are 2/3 of a point per game, towards a point per game in some cases. So a decent player, and then what's his, because he's expiring, yeah. So the cap hit's outstanding. Mind you, he's probably certainly going to get a lot more in free agency, or if he extends. So yeah, the value is great there. Now, in terms of Kuzmenko, I don't believe had good performance. They were having issues with getting much out of him. This season, that is. So 39 goals, 74 points in 81 games. The previous season did very well in the KHL. Was he drafted high? undrafted. So he's probably, he's got 2 goals in 2 games so far with Calgary. He's got the performance to indicate that he's going to be very good moving forward. But again, sometimes people have just a good season and then they never ever get back to that same level. So I would say they're probably equal in terms of high-end potential, because 39 goals versus, what was it for Lindholm, 42? It's like the same thing. So essentially they basically have similar value. Kuzmenko is a bit more unknown because he doesn't have as much of a track record. Mind you, I would argue having KHL stats like that is enough of a track record, whereas Lindholm was a first-round pick. Then you got the risk of a Russian player because they could always go back to the KHL. So that's probably why the value was so high going to Calgary. So I think Calgary definitely won that trade. And Kuzmenko had another year left, I believe it said, right? Yeah, so in my opinion, definitely Calgary won that trade. You could argue that Lindholm, because he's more certain of an asset, that they both have 2 goals in 2 games, that he's a smarter pickup, and that's the difference in the value. And like I said, because he's got, the pedigree behind him, that's probably why he fetched more in the trade. And the fact that it's a rental, and and Vancouver had issues with Kuzmenko, so there's probably all those layers to it. So I understand the value of the trade. I don't think it's good. I wouldn't have made the trade. I wouldn't have given up the assets that Vancouver gave up in that trade. I'd much rather Calgary side of things. So, mind you, Vancouver might know more about issues with Kuzmenko that Calgary wouldn't have known. But I think Calgary was having trouble extending Lindholm anyway. So I think it would amount to pretty much the same. So I think Calgary clearly wins that trade. So, anyways, that's kind of my look at that. And then Monahan to Winnipeg for a first and a third. Let's close these. So Monahan. So the third, I should say about the third. The third's conditional if Winnipeg wins the Stanley Cup. Otherwise, it's just a first, which is not all that crazy, it seems like, for Monahan. Now, I know Monahan's been very up and down in his performance over the years. 34 goals, 82 points in 78 games. Usually approximately 2/3 of a point per game. Or 3/4, something like that. And yeah, of late, so this past season on a team that's not that great, Montreal, he 35 points in 49 games. He's got enough of a pedigree to score goals, which I think increases his value. Plus, he's a centerman. Apparently good at faceoffs. I haven't looked at his stats, but that's what the analyst said when I heard some stuff. So for a first round for him, centerman, given that background, I think it's great. And didn't he do well in one of the playoffs here? 8 points in 10 games with Calgary. 5 in 4 games with Calgary. 21 in 30. So, I mean, altogether, if Winnipeg is a much better team now, I think that they've spread out their performance so that there's previously they had fewer players, which made it easier to defend against them. Also, I think some of the guys are flaky, and some of the ones they still have. Like, I don't know if Ehlers is very up and down to me. he'll play really great in a really important game and then completely be non-existent in another one. So I don't know. And then Scheifele's, I don't know if I like the team that much, and I'm a Jets fan. They're all very good. But anyways, what I was getting at is they have the scoring spread out now better, so they've got more lines. They didn't. So previously they had a first, a second line, and then a third checking, and the fourth was basically unimportant. Now they basically have 1 to 3 and a checking line, or you could argue 2 good checking lines, or a checking line and a third scoring line. Anyways, a lot more depth. So if there's injuries, they're going to be well equipped to handle those. I think it's a much better Winnipeg team. So to pick up this guy to go for a long run, hopefully Hellebuck's on his game too. So a first round pick, because they're probably going to finish decent in the standings, it's more like a second round. So I would argue it's a really good trade. If that's the case, if they finish barely in the playoffs, which is quite possible because you can slip, and they have slipped lately, then that's where the value goes up. So, but no matter what, it's not going to be. They should make the playoffs, and it's not going to be like a high end pick. So, I think it's a great trade. Monahan doesn't have any term, right? Yeah. Tiny cap hit. I think it's fantastic. And to be honest, for both sides, I think Montreal getting a first round pick. Maybe you could have gotten more for Monahan, but sometimes it's better to get it done than wait and get less. So I don't know. Personally, I would have said that more accurate value for what Montreal would have wanted back is probably a first and maybe like a first and a second, first and a third, something like that. So that if they had the conditional third as non-conditional, then I would say it's a pretty good trade. I think that little bit of value off makes it where I think Winnipeg's got better value. So anyways, again, it's one of those, I kind of like the trade for both sides, but one side, in my opinion, does better than the other in terms of value. So, and that's it for trades. So like I said, we'll just have gotten those out of the way, and then we'll move on to the rest here. So next up came the, I'm sorry, I clicked something on my phone. Give me a sec. So I'm using this to monitor if there's any comments, so just give me a sec. I'm going to have to get out and go back in. There we go. So yeah, next up was the All-Star game. So like I said, because they changed the format for the skills competition, I was interested in having a look. And the only part in the end that actually I should say things differently. So I didn't see the player draft. I thought that was cool to bring that back. And then I was going to watch the skills competition, and depending on how that went, if I liked it, then I would watch the All-Star games. If I didn't like it, then I wouldn't watch those. So I'll explain my opinion on the skills competition after we go through all the draft stuff. So anyways, now since this is in the past, I don't know if it's going to be all that important to know this stuff. But anyways, so these are the players that got drafted onto the Hughes team. You can see the roster there. And then the McDavid team. MacKinnon team. Matthews team. So, of course, once I had the links saved to the stream, you can go back and have a look if you want to review those. And then, so we had so that was it for that day. They had the draft, and that was basically all that happened. I believe the women's game happened, but I didn't watch that. And so anyway, so it went on to the skills competition the following day. As you can see there, McDavid won, and like I said, I watched the whole thing. And before I go through the results, I should say just my opinion generally on it, and I absolutely loved it. It went right back to the old school kind of style. The competitions were different, and the structure was different too, but I really liked the way it was put together. So you had the skills. People got to choose certain skills that they would compete on. Then you accumulate points based on how you performed compared to everybody else. So first place got X number of points, second, so on and so on. And then after, I forget if it was 6 or 8 competitions, the points got tallied, and then people got eliminated. And then I think it was 2 more, and then more people got eliminated, and then there was the last one. I think that's how it went. But anyways, I won't go through all the how people performed on each of the things. But basically, long story short, McDavid was fantastic. Where final 8, final 6. Oh, it does show it. So if we go all the way to the bottom and then scroll up, it'll go through everything. So, but we'll just show the point totals after. So the final 8. Oh, that shows what they had on the final. So it doesn't show the standings. Where did I find that then? Because I found it somewhere. Is that the bottom? Huh. Well, I know I had it on my channel, so I can go back there. It's just kind of funny that I could have sworn that I would have bookmarked it. Where is it here? It was on one of my shorts that I did. Well, I guess I'm going to have to go back further. All-Star Scoreboard. Skills, final standings. So there it is right there. So, whoops. There it is. So McDavid got first, Makar second, Matthews third. Then you can see the rest there. And I forget exactly how people got eliminated. I think it was, oh yeah, they did say, so it was 8, 6, and then the winner from the remaining 6. So anyway, so those were the points at the end. Some people performed better than expected. Like JT Miller, I think, did better than expected. Some people way worse than expected, like Kucherov, Chytil, Pasternak, MacKinnon. So sometimes, like, it was strategies in each of the competitions as well as just performance on those competitions, which you could, just have an off day in terms of your touch. Another thing I heard from the analysts that were talking, like the commentators and stuff, they were saying how the pucks weren't frozen. So, yet in games they were, and so that would really impact a player's touch on the puck. So is it a big enough excuse? Well, probably not, but things like that they really should have factored in and made sure it was consistent to how these players are used to playing. So anyway, so there's a bunch of factors why it would have been as it was, but then again, if McDavid got first, Makar second, Matthews third, it kind of tells you that it was close enough. So some people, I would argue it's just that people were off. So anyway, so those were the standings, and let's see if I can find that link again, and then I'll include it. Will it let me copy? Where did I get it? It's not that one, I don't think. Oh, I'm pretty sure it was this one. At the bottom of the live blog. Or is it at the top? Yeah, this is where I found it, so I'll add that to the description as well. Okay. Cool. So anyways, yeah, long story short, the skills competition was great, in my opinion. So now I'll watch future iterations of it, as long as they don't change it to that stupid gimmicky stuff. And it's funny because all the commentators were like, oh, this is great, and I don't know, I bet you they said it was great when it was all the garbage stuff anyways. But I liked it. So if you didn't see it, I'd actually recommend go back and watch the skills competition, all the events, and it would kind of, then you can kind of have your own opinion if you didn't see. So all right, so next up was news that the NHL or players would participate in the next two Olympics. So that would be 2026 and 2030. There's in 2025, where is it? There it is. There's going to be a 4 nations face-off instead of the All-Star game. So Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the U.S. I wonder if that means that there's no skills competition. Well, in any case, that's kind of cool. I guess it's like a warm-up for the Olympics and all that stuff. So, yeah, so that's going to be cool. I don't know if, to be honest, I don't think I'm going to care about watching those, like the 4 nations face-off that they're calling it. It's not of great interest because it's not important. There's no like significance to it. It's not for an Olympic medal. It's not the World Cup of Hockey, which even that I think is kind of meh. So it says that the plan is to alternate the World Cup of Hockey and Olympics every 2 years after that, after 2026. And to be honest, World Cup of Hockey is not that important to me. It's Olympics or not important. But anyways, so kind of cool. At the very least, to me, the Olympics, NHLers are going to be back at that for the next 2, at the very least, which I'm excited to watch. The other things, I don't think it's that big of a deal to me, but it might be to you. Next up, Kings fired McLellan. They said that they weren't going to, and then they did. That's why I never put much faith in rumors or ownership saying a certain thing or GM saying that a player's not available and all that kind of stuff. Just I ignore it all until we see what happens. And then Hiller is the interim coach. How did McLellan do when he was there? I thought he did okay, but wasn't he only there for a short period of time? Why is it not letting me? One sec. How do you do? Not good in the first season, not good in the second season, good in the third season, good in the fourth season, and then got fired. I don't know if I agree with that decision. And they weren't out of a playoff spot either when he got fired, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's the right call, but whatever, that's the call they made. Then Hiller, I don't think has been a coach. So I doubt he's going to be the long-term option. Yeah, he's only been an assistant. Did pretty well in the WHL, so has a decent track record where maybe he's ready to be a coach. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be the coach, but you never know. Like I said, it's a decent enough track record where it could happen. Yeah, so anyways, that's happened there. Some news about the Coyotes. They applied to buy state land north of Phoenix because the previous thing that they tried to do fell through. But I wouldn't put much faith in that at this point because so many things have happened with them and then have fallen through that basically it's just for information's sake to let you know. If you're interested in more information on it, you can read the article, of course. So that's that. And then the next day of the All-Star weekend were the All-Star games, and then there was McDavid's team against McKinnon's. It finished 4-3 in a shootout for McDavid's team. If you're interested in more information, you can check that article and the video. The other game, Matthews against Hughes, again in a shootout. That was 6-5 for Matthews. And so Matthews and McDavid in the final, and then Team Matthews won 7-4. In my opinion, I thought it was pretty competitive. It wasn't like the hardest effort of a game, not as hard as like a real NHL game. But the fact that it was still for $1 million for the winning team, and then the skills competition, the fact that there was $1 million for the winner, I thought that was cool. What I think would have been better is if maybe the top 3 for the skills competition get incrementally less from the first down to the third, because then it drives you to at least try to get in the top 3. So I think it puts more gives you more motivation to compete, whereas if it's just one person, then if you're too far out of the running, you're just going to give up. So I think they should do that. Also, the fact that one player got a full $1 million, whereas a team got $1 million with the All-Star games. That's where if it was spread out more for the skills competition, I think that would be better. Anyways, that's my opinion on that. But games were, like I said, the competitiveness wasn't anything too fantastic, but it was decent. And in my opinion, they deserved my eyes from having done a good job on the skills competition. Not that, I'm the most important fan to have watched, but I judged it if I was going to watch that based on the skills competition. the skills competition was great, like I said. So, anyways, so altogether, in my opinion, a great all-star or great all-star events, at least from the hockey stuff. The rest of it I didn't watch, to be honest. So, anywho, so that's it about the All-Star weekend. I typically don't talk about signings unless they're $5 million or more, but he was a weird case where probably should have been signed a long time ago, and then he anyways just got signed, and he was playing. I saw in the Winnipeg game. I don't know if he's still playing, if he played in their most recent game, because I think they had one since then. But anyways, so Puljujarvi, I forget how it's pronounced, but he signed with the Penguins, which is good for him. It's funny, going from, I think, a second overall pick, wasn't he? Or did he slip? I forget now. He could have been a first overall pick, and then what did he get? Fourth overall. Yeah, it's just what a big drop off of what he was expected to do versus what he has done. So, but with the Penguins, you never know. He could do well. We'll see. He's supposed to be a skilled player. That's why he was drafted so high. So, anyways, so just an interesting story. The fact that he missed out on the beginning of the season. I think it was due to injury, but also probably just not finding a team to sign him. And so, anyways, he got signed by Pittsburgh. Another person, long-term injury, Samuelsson from the Sabres. Season-ending surgery for upper body injury. Doesn't specify what it is. But anyway, so he's out for a while. Another person entering the Player Assistance Program, Kuznetsov, which we've heard, I think I spoke of previously, how he was having issues with his team, so don't know if there's something personal going on with him, but clearly something where he has to miss time and to enter that program. So hope he gets better, hope everything goes well for both him and his team. This one, I don't know if I've heard the result yet. So he cleared waivers, and I think it was, there's no other, oh yeah, there was a claim there, so I'll go back to that later. Purposes of contract, or terminating his contract, so I don't know if there's any sort of issue. So he didn't want to report to the AHL and ask for the team to terminate his contract, so, okay. Anyway, so not anything of great significance, but for information. So, DJ Smith, so the coach that was fired from the Senators earlier in the season, he's an assistant in LA. I'm interested to see if that's kind of their plan of the next coach there. You never know. Or he's supposed to, or he is somebody that Hiller wanted, and then that's supposed to be like a tandem coaching, I guess. Or, still subservient to Hiller or whatever. But, yeah, it's interesting. So that at least gives you the thought that maybe DJ Smith could be the head coach there moving forward. Once they, as part of their process of finalizing their head coach there. So, anyways, so that's that. Poitras from the Bruins has season-ending shoulder surgery. Again, not much more to say than that. Sergachev, I don't know if you saw it. I had a look, and man, that looked brutal. So he So he fractured both his tibia and fibula, which I believe is hard to do. I forget which one's the one that's like thicker and more difficult to break, but I think one of those is it. So anyways, nonetheless, he broke a lot and it looked very bad, and he's going to be out for a while. It doesn't specify the time frame, and just unfortunate for him and the team because he's an important defenseman for the team. So that sucks. Pretty gruesome injury. Last piece of the headlines is Guerin's going to be the GM for the American Four Nations team and 2026 Olympic team, which I think he's done a horrible job with Minnesota. And as a result, I think it's a horrible decision for those two events. So, anyways, those are my thoughts. And I guess you can have your own opinion on that. For suspensions, there's a few suspensions and fines. So Marchman's one, Dillon's one, Myers. I think Trouba's one. 27th. When was the last one? Yeah, that would have been after. So I think that's the last one on the list there. We know about Gallagher. Okay, so Marchment fined for interference against McCabe, which I didn't see, but I thought I heard it was pretty bad. But I guess not bad enough for a suspension. So $5,000 fine. This one, whether he meant, because I saw this live actually, whether he meant to injure Chari or not, it was a dangerous hit. So the problem was, if he lowered his body to hit Chari, I wouldn't have said it was suspension worthy, but he stayed too high, and so, like where the head was going to, he should have either gone low and hit the body or just not done the hit. So and he had enough time to make that decision, in my opinion. So I thought it was a bad hit and worthy of 3 games. And of course, you could go back to have a look. And I'm sorry for Chari getting hurt like he did. He had a concussion apparently. So definitely suspension worthy. And I think they got the number of games right too. Myers got a fine for elbowing in a game against the Blue Jackets, $5,000. Trouba suspended 2 games for elbowing Dorofeyev. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's it for suspensions. Injuries, we'll have a look through. So again, the criterion is a month or more. That's where I'll make note of it. Otherwise, it's not as long term. We already know about Chytil. Jack Quinn, I don't know if it's something I've mentioned before, but out until March 27. McKellan from St. Louis out until next season, it looks like. Calfoot and McLeod. Oh, that's the legal stuff. Out until April 15, both of them. Dubé, 18th of April. Same reason. Carter Hart, 16th of April, same reason. Fantilli out till 27th of March. I think it was a leg laceration, if I'm not mistaken. AJ Greer out until March 23, foot injury. Robin Leonard, hip injury out till April 18. So they had given an update on this website at least recently, mentioning that he could have come back earlier, but I guess he's still recovering from that, and he had his legal things too. So, yeah, it looks like he's out for the season. My assumption is that's the case. Lucic out until April 16, ankle injury. So that's been extended, I believe. Pat Maroon, back injury out till March 7. Poitras, we already know. Sergachev, they're estimating April 17, so not until the playoffs. And then that's it for long-term injuries. We did have one waiver claim, I believe. No, a couple waiver claims. So Chisholm, I believe he was claimed earlier in the season, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, he got claimed by Minnesota after having been put on waivers by Winnipeg. No, okay, so then I'm confusing. There's somebody else from Winnipeg that I believe was put on waivers and claimed previously. There's another defenseman, I think. And then Chytil, put on waivers by Vegas, claimed by Calgary. And that's that. And so, by the sounds of it, Bonino's going to have his contract terminated too. Contract signings, I think 26 was the previous stream, so then it's everything past then. So Gignac, I think is how you'd pronounce that. Pugliarvi and Pospisil. Anyways, no major contract signings. Any major standout scores since the last news? So again, it's if you're interested in all those games that happen, you can go take a look at those games. I'm just looking for like big lopsided games, and it doesn't look like there's anything. No. There was that Edmonton had, 16 games, and I think 17 was the record. I think that's right. But anyways, if I'm off by a couple games, they were close to tying the record and then fell short by one game. So too bad for them, but that happens. Next up, we'll compare the current standings to my preseason predictions. So first, the Atlantic Division. This is my favorite part of the stream because I like seeing where I'm at for my predictions. So I have Leafs, Bruins, Panthers, and so I'll consider, as I've said before, that my predictions are right if they're in a playoff spot and I have them in a playoff spot, because the position of where exactly they're sitting is just so difficult to predict. So anyways, I have Leafs, Bruins, Panthers, Leafs, so I'm perfect there. 3 for 3. Lightning in a wild card spot, so that's 4 for 4 for the Atlantic Division. Mind you, I think I'd be willing to bet that Tampa's going to slip out because of losing Sergachev, because he's a pretty important player. Metropolitan, I have Hurricanes, Islanders, Rangers, Hurricanes, Rangers, Flyers, so for 2 for 3 in that. Islanders are outside of the wild card spot, that's the Wings, so I'm wrong there, and Penguins are also out, but they have more games in hand, so they could potentially move into a playoff spot if they get on a bit of a winning streak. So in that division, I am 2 for 4, but the other two are kind of within reach. Going over to Central Division, I have Stars, Blues, Avalanche. It is currently Stars, Avalanche, Jets. Um, I have Jets and a wild card, so that's 3 for 3 on the top 3 at least. And then Blues are in the second wild card spot. So I'm actually 4 for 4 on the Central. And so the Blues actually turned it around, which I'm not surprised by. I think they're a decent team, and I thought the other teams were overperforming. So, 4 for 4 in the Central. And then Pacific, I have Knights, Oilers, Kings, and it's Canucks, Knights, Oilers. So 2 for 3 there, and then Kings in the wild card spot. So I'm Knights, Oilers, Kings, 3 for 4. Flames are just behind them, but more games played. And there's other teams ahead of them. So altogether in the Western Conference, I'm 7 for 8, and in the Eastern Conference, I'm 6 for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 plus 7, 13 for 16, which is pretty darn good. Hey Marcus, thanks for tuning in again. So that's pretty good. Predictions are looking pretty close, and that's it for that. Last thing, kind of just to show you, you can look in your own time if you're interested. So point leaders, Kucherov leads the way. It's basically between Kucherov and MacKinnon for points. Mind you, a bunch of people could catch up because there's still plenty of games left in the season. Matthews leading the way in goals, 41. Reinhardt's actually come back up, so he's within reach too. And then, with goals, you never know. Some of these guys could actually move up. Goaltending, Aiden Hill still at the top. Hellebuck likewise, at least for goals against average. Same for save percentage. Some other guys. Basically all the all-star goalies are there for the most part. And then defenseman, Hughes leading the way there. Makar catching up. And then, believe it or not, Bedard, even though he's been out for a chunk of games, still leading for rookies. So that's it for the stream. Nothing else to cover. So that's where we'll leave it. So if you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. The channel homepage has upcoming streams on regular NHL content. Because of my schedule for travel and everything, it's going to be every 2 weeks, kind of regardless of the quantity of news. And so that's already scheduled on the channel homepage. Not next Friday, but the next one after that, it's going to be 5 p.m. I think I might change that again, but it'll be that day at the very least. So that's that. I do have my plans for my schedule for franchise mode and be a pro starting Monday. Sunday I'm not going to be able to do that stream as per normal because there's the Super Bowl and I want to watch that, and also I'm getting up crazy early to bring the family to the airport, so so it's just not going to be a good day for me to do another scheduled stream. So that day's going to be canceled, I think, unless I just put it in whenever I'm awake and have enough energy. But we'll play that by ear. It won't be planned. But after Monday, the plan is 2 streams a day, 1 franchise mode, 1 be a pro. I might take a day off here and there, but for the most part it'll be 2. Some streams might go longer than normal, maybe shorter. It won't be as structured, because I don't have like a specific schedule since I'm not doing any work. As far as I know at this moment, I could pick up a contract that takes up some time, but we'll figure that out if that happens. The plan was to take the month off, so anyway, so we'll play that by ear in terms of like if there's any adjustments, but it should be, like I said, one franchise mode a day, one Be a Pro a day, probably about 2 hours a piece. Or for franchise mode, 2 hours. Be a Pro, probably 2 games, which is typically like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So that's the plan. But I'll put that schedule in the About section of the channel once it's finalized, which I think it is, but I just want to give it a couple days to just make sure. Then that's it. Any comments, leave them in the comments. Suggestions, likewise. And today's Friday. There could be another franchise mode stream tomorrow. Could there be one today? Maybe even today. But those ones don't hold me to it because I don't know. Because I got to go to bed early tomorrow. Because I'm traveling early in the morning the next day. And then today, since I've done this, I don't know if I'll have more time. But we'll see. Anyways, that's it. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Okay, bye.